How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Hello and welcome to Mystery Inc. My name is Richie. Today I've got another Goosebumps House of Shivers review for you. Today we're looking at book number 4, Say My Name, Say My Name.
You will beware. You're in for a scare. Goosebumps.
Like I said, this is number 4 in the House of Shivers series. We currently have 5 books released with One Night at Camp Bigfoot coming out in just a few days at this point. By the time this video is going to go live, it's I think less than a week, maybe 2 weeks until the release date. So currently we have 5 books. This is book number 4. And this wasn't a great book. I really wanted it to be, but it just wasn't. So, brief overview here. We've got a couple of main characters. We've got Cody, who is our protagonist, and then his friend Sam. They're your typical, Goosebumps 12-year-olds. And the book gets set up where Cody is going to hang out with his friend Sam, and he really wants to go out and go swimming in the creek behind his house. It's been raining a lot, and the water level's risen higher so they can do some swimming. Sam's not interested in doing that. He wants to stay indoors and play his game that he's been developing. He's taken his picture and Cody's picture and a couple other people around town, friends of theirs, and kind of used AI or something like that to put them into the game as characters or avatars, something like that. Anyway, Cody convinces Sam to go out and go swimming anyway before they sit down and play around with the game. And so they get out there, and Cody's dad says, "Okay, be careful. Don't go too far." I can't remember what the place was called, but somewhere downstream, there's this place where the water gets a lot deeper, and I guess it's alluded to that people have drowned or had other accidents, something like that, around that area. So he doesn't want them, going that far, and so they promise that they won't. So they go out and go swimming, and Cody's dog follows them. I don't remember the dog's name offhand. Not really important, but so they swim down the creek a bit. The water's a bit rougher than they were expecting. It's deeper and it's moving faster. So they kind of get swept up to this point farther down the river where they get into the point where they're not supposed to be. And so they stop, decide to turn around. One other thing I should mention is, when they go swimming, they have this kind of competition between each other to try and catch fish with their hands and, see who can catch the biggest fish or the first fish or whatever when they go out and go swimming. So Cody catches this fish and holds it up to show Sam, and the fish is like wriggling around, and then it stops and looks at Cody and says, say my name," and it freaks him out. He thinks that Sam's messing with him. We get this very quick backstory about how a ventriloquist had come and done, something, an assembly or presentation or a show or something at their school, and taught them a little bit about throwing their voice and ventriloquism and stuff like that. And obviously Sam didn't do it and denies it. But Cody ends up, throwing the fish away, and the dog ends up chasing it downriver. And so instead of turning back the way they were supposed to, they end up following the dog, ending up in this place they're not supposed to be. Have this crazy encounter with this wild animal. I'm not going to give too much details because I don't want to spoil the whole story for you, but there's a very intense scene, and it's not even 20 pages in, where there's some real danger for the main character and his friend. And they got to fight off this animal. And then start heading back to the house, and these other weird things start happening. They end up getting stuck in the water, they're trying to swim, but they don't appear to be moving at all. And then they come across a couple of their other friends from school, a couple girls, Darby and Marissa, who are just kind of out in the woods doing just some random construction project, building a mini log cabin or something like that for some kind of school project. And we fast forward, they end up getting back to Cody's house and discover that his parents aren't there, that all of a sudden there's these other strange people living in his house, and they're starting to get really confused, wondering what in the world is going on. And like I said, I'm not going to give too much of it away, but it ends up relating back in a way to the game that Sam was developing. And things just keep getting weirder and weirder as the book goes on. Some very bizarre twists and turns, and like just very chaotic plot. That again all tie back to this weird game that Sam's developing. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil it because I can't really go into too much more detail without giving away the full plot of the book, and I don't want to do that in case you decide you want to read this one. So let's go ahead and take a look at my ranking for it. So here we are with my rating, not ranking, rating. And as you can see, this one didn't get the greatest score in the world, but let's talk about it. So first of all, the characters. Cody's kind of a jerk, especially to Sam. Even though they're supposed to be friends, he really doesn't treat him very well. And yeah, it's just don't have a lot else to say about that. He's just not a very good friend. But Sam's also not the greatest character in the world because he kind of knows what's going on here a little bit, and doesn't really admit to it until, I don't know, maybe 80 pages into the book. It's pretty significantly in. So he's just letting, Cody freak out and go through all this stuff for no reason when he could have given some kind of an explanation for what's happening here. You're really the only characters that I liked were Darby and Marissa, and they play a very, very short, very minor role. Something that's very interesting about this book also, it's the only Goosebumps book so far that I've read where our main character perspective actually changes. There's, I think it's 2, maybe 3 chapters where we actually reading the book from Darby's perspective instead of Cody, and then it switches back to him shortly after. So that was very interesting. I liked her well enough as a character, and Marissa's just kind of there. She doesn't really do much of anything. So yeah, I only give it a 1 star for characters because I didn't like Cody, didn't like Sam. Darby was okay, and Marissa was there, but she didn't really do much. So not great on the characters for this book. Atmosphere, I give it a 3 star. I toyed with bumping it up just a little bit higher because there's some very atmospheric moment with the way the creek is described and the tension of the situation, the strange creatures that are showing up in the woods, and it's kind of everything that's happening with Cody's house when they come back and find the other people living there. I ended up settling on a 3 star because it was just kind of in the middle. I mean, there were some points that were really good atmospheric wise, and later on it just kind of fizzled out a bit. And yeah, the plot was all over the place. There was no cohesive thought really behind this. There was an overarching story ish, but it really wasn't great. The twist was not surprising in the slightest. I mean, I kind of guessed what was going to happen maybe by page 20 or 30. Like, I had a solid instinct about where this plot was going. And so yeah, the story was just all over the place, nothing very cohesive. The twist was pretty obvious, at least to me. Maybe not to everybody, but to me, yeah. So it only pulled a 1 star for me. Pacing and intrigue, again, the book was very fast-paced for the most part, so it got a couple of stars for that. It was not intriguing at all, though. Like, I was very invested in the story for about the first 20, 25 pages, and then it just got really weird and off the rails and not interesting. Yeah, so 2 star there. Again, enjoyment. I didn't hate the book. like I really liked the beginning and the setup, and I didn't even hate the idea of where the plot was going, um, with kind of the overall backstory of what's happening here, but it just wasn't executed very well, and so I just didn't enjoy it that much. It was good enough to get 2 stars, but I think that might have even been a little bit generous. It's another one, didn't really have much humor. Um, they almost kind of there's how do I phrase this? Kind of a half-hearted attempt at humor in like the first 5-10 pages, but then nothing after that really. So it didn't get any bonus points for that. So that gave us an overall score of 1.8 out of 5, which is good enough for 1.5 stars. And yeah, this book, I really wanted to like it. I just didn't. It wasn't the worst Goosebumps book I've ever read, but it was pretty low down there, I have to say. Definitely better than You Can't Scare Me and Monster Blood 2 maybe and stuff like that, but not a great book overall. Also, this cover, um, kind of a lie. I mean, I guess you could say this is maybe the fish that is talking at the beginning there, but we only see it for a few seconds. It's not really described as being any bigger than like a regular like a trout or something, like maybe a foot long. And it just gets tossed away. It's not really described as being like evil or creepy. Also, the kids in this picture, one of them clearly has a fishing pole, which that doesn't come up at all in the story. So yeah, I don't know where this cover art came from, but it didn't really live up to the cover. And when I did the cover ranking for these, this, I think if I remember correctly, this was my favorite cover, um, which is unfortunate, falling in the same category there as You Can't Scare Me. Great cover, not a great book. But let me know what you guys thought about this one if you read it. Um, do you think I've been too harsh? Have I been too generous? Did you enjoy the book? Um, yeah, any other thoughts that you have? And let me know which House of Shivers book you want to see next. It's probably actually, now that I think about it, by the time I get around to recording the next review for this series, I'm probably going to do One Night at Camp Bigfoot, because that should be out, like I said, here within a week or two. And it's going to be a couple of weeks before the next House of Shivers review goes up, because I'll probably have another Series 2000 and maybe a GYG book between now and then. So, yeah, so I'm probably going to do One Night at Camp Bigfoot, but let me know what book you want to see after that then. There's only a couple left. Obviously, it's a very short series so far. But yeah, that's going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, let me know your thoughts on this, and we'll see you in the next one. Appreciate your time. Have a nice day.